Welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe and dive into stories that'll stay with you long after the video ends. Let's begin. The church bells were still ringing when she burst through the side door, veil whipping like torn silk in the cold wind. A scream of brakes echoed as a yellow taxi slid to a halt at the curb. "Please, drive," she gasped, clutching her gown, voice shredded by panic. The driver looked at her through the mirror. Mid-40s, quiet eyes, gray stubble, hands steady on the wheel. "Where to?" he asked. "Anywhere but here." He pressed the accelerator. The tires spat gravel, and the church disappeared behind a blur of rain-smeared glass. Inside the cab, silence pulsed heavy. The woman, early 30s, auburn hair spilling from a ruined bun, was trembling. Her white dress was torn at the hem, mud creeping up the lace. Mascara streaked her cheeks like black rain. The driver flicked on the wipers. "Wedding gone bad?" he asked softly. She laughed once, dry and broken. "Something like that." The city folded around them. Wet asphalt, neon signs bleeding into puddles, the smell of gasoline and roses. The radio crackled a love song she couldn't bear to hear. He turned it off. "Do you have somewhere safe to go?" She hesitated. "Do you believe in second chances?" The driver's jaw twitched. Sometimes, a siren wailed behind them. She looked back, heart thudding. "Keep driving," she whispered. He didn't ask why. He didn't have to. There was something in her voice, an echo of fear that he'd heard before years ago in another woman's voice. They crossed the river. Streetlights flashed rhythmically through the glass, slicing her reflection into fragments. "You can drop me near the old pier," she said suddenly. "Please, the pier. It's abandoned." "I know." Her fingers dug into her lap, clutching something hidden beneath the folds of her gown. For a moment, the driver caught a glimpse. A small black notebook, edges frayed, a ribbon marking one page. He recognized it, or at least he thought he did. He took the next turn slower, eyes narrowing. "You've been there before," he said. She looked at him sharply. "How do you know that?" He didn't answer. Rain thickened, drumming like static on the roof. The cab's interior felt smaller, almost suffocating now. Her perfume mingled with the smell of wet leather and something faintly metallic. She spoke again, voice lower. He wasn't supposed to find out. None of them were. The driver said nothing, but his grip on the wheel tightened until the knuckles whitened. The city's lights dimmed behind them. Ahead, the river glowed dull silver beneath the bridge. "Almost there," she murmured. The driver's pulse quickened. The same place. The same night, the same secret. Only this time, the bride wasn't the one he remembered. The taxi rattled along the wet road, heading toward the edge of the city where fog swallowed the lamps one by one. "Pull over," she said. He did. They stopped beneath a flickering streetlight, the glow slicing the rain into vertical lines. She pressed her palms against the glass, watching the reflections melt. "Do you believe people can change?" she asked softly. "Depends what they did," he said. She turned to him, eyes raw. "What if they didn't mean to destroy someone?" He met her gaze in the mirror. "Intentions don't erase consequences." She looked away, pulling the notebook closer. "Then I guess I'm guilty." The driver studied her quietly. He'd seen her face before, not in person but in a photograph. It had been left behind in the back seat years ago, inside a similar notebook. Back then, another woman had sat right where she was sitting now, crying, trembling, whispering about the same man. He cleared his throat. "You're running from the groom?" She nodded. "He's not what he pretends to be." Her voice cracked. "He's the one who ruined her." The driver froze. "Her," she met his eyes. "The woman before me." For a moment, all sound drained from the world. Rain tapped against the glass like ticking seconds. "You knew her," he said slowly. She nodded. "She was my sister." The driver's hand slipped slightly on the steering wheel. His breath caught. The fog pressed against the windows, turning the world into blurred ghosts. "She disappeared 5 years ago," the bride whispered. "The police said she drowned, but I found her journal last month. She wrote about a man, charming, dangerous, the same man I almost married today." Her words sank into him like stones. "I tried to warn myself," she continued. "I thought I could expose him, but he found out." She unzipped her clutch, revealing the edge of a blood-stained letter. The driver's stomach tightened. "He hurt her?" Her eyes flicked toward the notebook. He killed her. A flash of lightning tore through the sky, bathing the cab in white for a heartbeat. When darkness returned, her face was pale, trembling. But resolute, the driver whispered, "Why come to me?" She swallowed. "Because you were the last person she ever called." The driver's pulse thundered. The phone call, the one he'd tried to forget. Her sister's voice, terrified, begging for a ride to the pier. And then the silence that followed. He had never told anyone, outside. Thunder rolled like an approaching train. The bride leaned closer. "You were there, weren't you?" He didn't answer. Her voice hardened. "You know what happened that night?" The driver stared into the rain, his reflection ghosted in the glass. "Oh, yes," he said finally. "And so do you." She flinched, but he wasn't accusing. He was remembering what he saw at the pier and what he buried in the river. The taxi rolled on through the mist, headlights slicing tunnels into the fog. The river was close now, its dark shimmer visible through the trees like a patient animal waiting to be remembered. The driver slowed. "This is where she wanted to go," he said quietly. The bride's breathing quickened. "You were there that night?" He nodded once. "Tell me," she whispered. He exhaled, his voice low and rough. "She called me." Same tone you had. Scared but trying not to sound it. She said someone was following her. I told her to stay where she was. But by the time I reached the pier, the water was moving wrong, like something had just fallen in. Her fingers tightened around the notebook. "And you didn't call the police?" "I did. But when they arrived, they found nothing. No body, no trace. They said she probably jumped. I tried to believe them." The bride stared out at the river. "She didn't jump." "I know." Their voices were low, like confessions whispered into a church's dark corner. She opened the notebook, flipping through pages of faded ink and smudged handwriting. This is her story. Every word of it, he saw it. Notes, sketches, fragments of fear, phrases like, "He knows where I go, the river watches." "Don't trust him, he drives a yellow car." The driver's stomach turned cold. "She thought I was part of it." "She didn't know who to trust." "Neither do you," he said. She looked up sharply. "You think I'm lying?" He shook his head slowly. "I think you're next." Silence fell like ash. The rain had stopped, but the fog clung thick, glowing faintly in the headlights. She leaned back, voice trembling. "I should have left before the wedding. He said if I ever tried, he'd make me disappear too." The driver turned off the engine. "He'll be looking for you now." "I know." The sound of the ticking dashboard clock filled the quiet, each second heavier than the last. Then, a noise, soft at first, footsteps on gravel. The bride's head jerked toward the window. "He found me." "Stay still," the driver murmured. A shadow moved across the fog. Tall, slow, deliberate, the driver reached beneath the seat. Pulled out an old metal wrench. Not a weapon, just a remnant of his long shifts. But now it felt like purpose. The bride pressed herself against the seat, clutching the notebook like a shield. The shadow drew closer. The driver could hear the drag of shoes through wet gravel. Then, nothing. The figure stopped just outside the beam of the headlights. A man's voice broke the silence. Calm, controlled. "Come out, sweetheart. You forgot your vows." The bride's lips parted, but no sound came. The driver's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He opened the door slowly, stepping out into the mist. "She's not going anywhere with you," he said. The figure smiled faintly in the dark. "You again? Should have known you'd show up." The driver froze. "You were there last time, too," the man said. "Always driving lost girls to the river." His tone was casual, but his eyes, when the fog thinned enough to show them, were dead calm. "Tell her the truth," the man continued. "Tell her what you saw that night." "Or should I?" The bride whispered. "What does he mean?" The driver swallowed hard. "He's lying." But deep down, the river knew otherwise, the same way it had known the first time, and it was about to tell the truth. The air at the pier tasted like rust and memory. The fog pressed close, thick as breath. The driver stood between the bride and the man, both half-shadowed by the headlights cutting through the dark. The man smiled, slick and deliberate, as though this were a meeting long rehearsed. "Step aside," he said to the driver. "She's hysterical." "You're making it worse." The driver didn't move. "She's not going anywhere with you." The man's jaw flexed. You still pretending you're some kind of savior? You think I forgot your face? The bride looked between them. You two. You know each other? The driver didn't answer. The river murmured below the boards, slow and steady like a clock running out. The man stepped forward. The bride flinched back, pressing against the taxi's door. You killed my sister, she said, her voice trembling but clear. I found the letter. He chuckled, soft and terrible. Your sister? She ruined herself. I just helped her along. The driver's fingers tightened around the wrench. You didn't help her, he said. You drowned her. The man tilted his head, eyes narrowing. And what did you do, driver? You watched. You stood right here and did nothing. The bride turned toward him, shock flaring across her face. That's not true. He didn't speak. His silence was a wound that said everything. The man stepped closer, his voice almost gentle. You tried to pull her out, but she was already gone. You were too slow. You left her there. The driver's jaw clenched. I went to the police and told them what? That you saw a shadow in the fog. The man sneered. You buried your guilt under gasoline and fares. And you think that makes you clean? Lightning flashed, brief, white, merciless. It froze them all in a single moment, the bride's veil fluttering like torn wings, the man's smirk carved in arrogance, the driver's eyes hollow with old regret. Then thunder rolled. The bride's voice cut through it. You think you can talk your way out of this? The man laughed once. Talk? No, but I can end this before the police even arrive. He reached into his coat. The driver moved first. The wrench swung hard, striking his arm. The gun clattered to the boards. The man snarled, lunging forward. The two men crashed against the railing, the wood creaking under their weight. The river roared below like a hungry mouth. The bride screamed, running toward them. The notebook fell from her hand, pages scattering like white birds into the wind. The man's hand locked around the driver's throat, shoving him backward over the edge until the driver twisted, dragging him down too. They both disappeared into the water with a sound like thunder breaking open. The bride froze. Rain began again, soft, cold, relentless. For a moment, nothing moved. Just ripples spreading wide across the black current. Then, a hand broke the surface. The driver's. He clutched the pier's post, gasping, eyes searching the dark. The man was gone, pulled under. The bride dropped to her knees, reaching for him. Give me your hand, he did. Their fingers locked. She pulled with everything she had. When he was finally on the pier, coughing, drenched, shaking, she whispered, It's over. He looked at the water, voice raw. Not yet, because the river never gave up its secrets easily, and neither of them was clean. The rain eased into a fine mist, the kind that lingered in the air and never quite left. The pier groaned under their weight. The bride sat beside the driver, soaked through, trembling, her wedding dress clinging like a ghost that refused to let go. The river beneath them churned softly, carrying secrets downstream. The driver's breaths came ragged. You should go, he whispered. I can't, she said. Not until I know what really happened. He stared at the horizon. Gray water meeting gray sky, a place where endings blurred into beginnings. You already know, she shook her head. No, he said you were there. That you didn't try to save her. His eyes drifted to the dark water. He was right. The words dropped between them like stones. I froze, he continued, voice low. She screamed once. I saw him push her. And I just froze. By the time I moved, it was too late. She was gone. The bride's tears mixed with the rain. You could have told me. I wanted to, he said. But how do you tell someone you failed the only person who asked you for help? The fog swirled around them, heavy, alive. She reached into her gown, pulling out the soaked notebook. Then help me finish what she started. He looked at her, weary but resolute. How? By ending the lie. She tore a page from the notebook, the ink bleeding in blue veins across the paper. This is his confession. My sister recorded everything. His threats, his plans. It was all here. I gave a copy to someone before the wedding, just in case. The driver's eyes widened. Who? A journalist, she said. By now the police have it, he exhaled. The tension in his shoulders finally cracked. Then it's done. She nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the river. Almost. Her voice grew quiet, distant. My sister loved this place. Said the water could keep anything safe. She used to say if you listen close, you can still hear the truth whispering under the surface. The driver listened. Beneath the sigh of wind, the lap of water, there was something, like a heartbeat echoing through the boards. He shivered. "Let's leave," he said. She didn't move. "I can't." He turned toward her. Her face was pale, peaceful. He took her. "But he didn't take me. I have to give her back what he stole." Before he could speak, she rose, stepping toward the edge of the pier. "Don't," he whispered. She turned to him, a faint smile on her lips. "You said the river never gives up its secrets. Maybe it will tonight?" He reached for her hand, but she slipped away. Her veil fluttered once, caught in the wind. Then she was gone. The splash echoed into forever. The driver staggered forward, searching the black water, calling her name. But only ripples answered. He fell to his knees, breath broken, rain streaming down his face. The veil drifted back toward the pier, wrapping around his wrist like forgiveness. He clutched it tight, whispering into the fog. "I'm sorry." A faint glow broke through the clouds, dawn bleeding over the river. The mist thinned, revealing calm water. Two reflections shimmered there for a moment, then one faded. The driver stood, hollow but lighter somehow. He turned toward the taxi, the veil still in his hand. As he drove away, the first sunlight touched the pier. The wind carried a whisper, her voice faint and soft. "Thank you." And for the first time in years, the river was still. Thanks for watching.